on the shift towards hyper-individualism in the United States and how it has slowly formed a me versus them mentality. Please welcome our last speaker, Vincent Wong, to the stage.
There are three primary indicators for addiction: zero social life, a lack of responsibility, and most importantly, an inability to stop. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this today is because I suffer from my own addiction. Card games. Whether it's blackjack, president's spoons, or even Go Fish, I simply can't seem to stop playing for hours on end. In fact, because I've been here for almost the past 8 hours, I'm pretty sure I'm going through withdrawal symptoms right now. I'm not just imagining this, right? Now, regardless of my own inclinations, I think that we can pretty much agree that everybody loves a good game. But at what point do we draw the line between playing the game and simply going too far? The fact that there is no clear answer is exactly my concern. As according to psychologist Dr. Sarah Stoltenpour in April of just last year, the introduction of social media in the COVID-19 pandemic created an anarchy, a phenomenon in which societal norms have become extremely unclear, creating the basis for hyper-individualism to fester, particularly in America. Now, while individualism encourages autonomy and self-actualization, hyper-individualism encourages this at the cost of societal cohesion, destroying what we call community and blurring the lines between the game and reality. So, consider this an intervention as we first huddle up and discover what society's latest addiction has become, before we then analyze the game board and figure out that community isn't a weakness, it's reality, before finally coming up with the winning move. Now, one of the key facets of life is that there are absolutely zero guidelines. We've been teleported into a game without so much as a tutorial, and everybody has a different interpretation of playing it. However, the game doesn't get better when every player decides to ignore every other player. It breaks. And we're already seeing the consequences. As according to the American Psychological Association, in 2025, 61% of adults felt isolated. And technology has only made this worse. As the Journal of Marketing Studies, the International Journal of Marketing Studies quantifies that the introduction of social media and the increased digitalization of our world has made communication and true connection so much more harder to achieve. In other words, social media got the game of life in full spectator NPC doom scroll side by square where we just watch everybody's max level highlight cutscene and nobody's actually pressing play for real. That one sentence is the epitome of what communication has truly become in the 21st century. Brainrot, fostered by increased digitalization, has devolved language, eroding our social skills and breaking apart what we call society. And what's worse, it's not that we have just lost our ability to connect, we've chosen not to. Researchers have gone so far as to call loneliness a public health epidemic, with the World Health Association associating it with 100 deaths every hour. And hyper-individualism changes our perception of the world around us and drives us towards this fate. It turns teammates into competition, relationships into transactions, community into comparison, and connection into weakness. The Donner Party, first established in 1846, ended 1 year later when personal interests in hoarding led to extreme acts of cannibalism. Kitty Genovese was 28, living in Kew Gardens, New York, when she was raped and stabbed to death because 38 bystanders chose to do nothing but watch. And more recently, In the past 5 years, the U.S. has faced significantly higher COVID-19 transmission rates because our community promoted a me versus them mentality that forced us to reject basic community safety measures. We dance through life alone and feel empty when we die alone. Because deep down, we're addicted to playing a cooperative game with a competitive mindset. But in truth, we're not alone. Let me introduce you to one of my favorite card games, Tens. Now, the objective of the game is extremely simple for those of you who don't know what it is. To collect as many houses and mansions as possible. Collect 3 mansions and you win. Similarly, if you're able to get 3 mansions by the time you hit your 30s, you're basically set for life. But this isn't the only connection we can make between tens and the real world. I want you to think of a time when you achieved something meaningful. Crushing your job interview, winning an award, or even getting accepted into your dream school. Those felt personal. You did that. However, as we play card after card, we often forget the silent partner right in front of us. Behind every new employee are people who've gone through the exact same process. Behind every athlete are coaches who run drills with them every day after school. And behind every scholar are teachers who help guide them throughout the entire process. Open your eyes and view the world in third person. Isolation is an illusion. The VMC Public Health qualifies this in 2023, explaining that a good support system is the primary indicator for increased academic engagement, better decision-making skills, and greater chances at success in life. The cards we choose to play aren't determined by our hands alone, but by cooperation and a shared goal. Hyper-individualism destroys that, creating a dog-eat-dog mentality that creates a society based on ignorance and a skewed view of merit. If we as individuals and as a community promote individual success, we fail to realize the systemic issues that cause others to fail. The Fujian Journal of Health Sciences qualifies this in their study of a liberated animal, finding that hyper-individualism was an extreme indicator of extreme consumerism. This doesn't just mean that we've all become shopaholics. It means that we've placed a monetary value on all facets of life. By buying into diverse ideas but never actually doing anything to create change, only, in fact, hindering it. After all, someone else will do it. But that very idea creates a perpetual cycle of inaction and drives us towards complete anarchy. So, let's redefine the line between self-need and selfishness. Self-actualization should be encouraged, but it shouldn't come at a cost to others. Remember, a moral life is a life worth living. First, make the rules before you play the game. Create a list of non-negotiables, a line that you'll never cross. Second, optimize for the long run. Our jobs today aren't to peak in high school, but to reach for the stars and come back with something far more valuable. Third, redefine success. It's not just about money. It's about moving forward and growing throughout the process. And fourth, ask yourself, would I do this again, and would I want others to emulate my actions? And finally, live with yourself. Character is cumulative. We build it up as we go, and there's always room for change. My goal today isn't to tell you how to live your lives, but to ask you to look within yourselves with a set of new eyes. Be proud of who you are, but understand that we are all players of the same game. So, as you leave this auditorium today, remember the three primary aspects of being a part of a community: asking for support when you need it, taking responsibility for how your actions might affect others, and finally, most importantly, being addicted to leading your life the way you want to live. And by doing that, you might just be one step closer to winning the greatest game of human existence.